You ever meet someone whose smile arrives in the room before they do? Someone who can be a wrecking ball on Sunday and a sunshine beam on Monday morning? Well, today we're diving into the life of a man who reinvented himself so many times you'd swear he was living on fast forward. Michael Strahan, football legend, television host, entrepreneur, cultural icon, and genuinely one of the most likable humans in American media. This is the story of the man who turned grit into charm, sacks into smiles, and setbacks into a second act bigger than his first. You know, if you saw Michael Strahan on TV today, sitting comfortably behind a glass table on Good Morning America, suit sharp, posture relaxed, grin wide, you might think he grew up that way. You might think he always had that easygoing confidence, that natural charisma that just makes people trust him. But his story doesn't begin under studio lights. It starts in a world far away from NFL stadiums and New York red carpets, in a military family, living overseas, with a kid who didn't quite fit the mold. Michael Strahan was born on November 21st, 1971 in Houston, Texas, the youngest of 6 kids. But when he was still a boy, his father, a major in the U.S. Army, moved the family to Germany. Not exactly the pipeline for future American football superstars. Life in Germany was structured, disciplined, strict. His father expected things done right, no shortcuts. And for a young Michael, who was tall but skinny, who didn't share the same athletic build his older brothers had, confidence wasn't a given. It had to be built, slowly, silently, and through hard work. Now here's the twist. Most kids with NFL dreams grow up tossing footballs across a backyard, watching Sunday Night Football, memorizing stats. Michael? He barely even played. He was into soccer. He ran track. He did what kids in Germany did. Football was something his brothers played back in the States, not him. But the Strahan genes are strong. His dad looked at this skinny kid and thought, we can work with this. And so began a training routine that would make a grown athlete collapse. Every day, young Michael went down into the basement with his father's homemade workout plan. Push-ups, sit-ups, weightlifting, repetition after repetition. He bulked up fast, so fast in fact that when he returned to Houston for his senior year of high school, he looked like a completely different person. And this is where his life takes one of those cinematic turns. He plays 1 season of high school football. 1! And that was all it took for college scouts to see raw talent. He earned a scholarship to Texas Southern University, a small school not usually in the national spotlight. But Strahan didn't care. Bigger stage, smaller stage, he just wanted to work. And work he did. At Texas Southern, Michael Strahan became a nightmare for anyone holding a football. Offense lines couldn't figure him out. Coaches couldn't stop talking about him, and by 1993, the NFL came calling. The New York Giants selected him in the second round of the draft. Not bad for a kid who grew up in Germany and barely played football until he was 17. But success doesn't always come immediately. Michael's early years in the NFL were tough. He struggled with injuries. He struggled with confidence. He struggled with the jump from small college star to big league reality. There were moments, real moments, when he wondered if he was good enough for this level. But then again, when you grow up in a military household with a father who teaches you that quitting is not an option, you keep going. You push, you grind, you outwork everyone. And eventually, the grind pays off. By the late 1990s, Michael Strahan became the dominant defensive end in football. He didn't just sack quarterbacks, he hunted them. He studied their habits, their steps, their breathing patterns. He knew when they flinched, when they panicked, when they were about to run. In 2001, he set the single-season sack record with 22.5 sacks, a record that still sparks debates today, especially about that infamous final sack on Brett Favre. But hey, records are records. For the next several years, Michael Strahan was the heart of the Giants' defense, a leader, a motivator, a force of nature. And then came 2007, a season no Giants fan will ever forget. This was the year they faced Tom Brady's undefeated New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Patriots hadn't lost a single game. The world expected them to win, easily. But Michael Strahan sensed something different. He felt the team unite. He felt belief. And in that Super Bowl, one of the greatest ever played, the Giants did the unthinkable. They beat Brady. They ended the undefeated season. They made history. For Strahan, it was the perfect ending. A warrior stepping away from the battlefield as a champion. Most athletes, when they retire, struggle. They miss the adrenaline. They miss the routine. They miss the roar of the crowd. But Michael Strahan? He walked off the field and walked directly into a second career that was even bigger. Television loved him. Audiences trusted him. That smile became his signature. He joined Fox NFL Sunday. Then Live with Kelly and Michael, where he won daytime Emmys. Then Good Morning America, becoming one of America's most recognizable hosts. What's crazy is that he didn't just fall into media. He excelled in it. He became a cultural bridge, someone who brought humor, warmth, and intelligence into millions of homes every morning. But what makes his story especially powerful isn't fame. It's reinvention. Michael Strahan never let his past define his future. Not the shy kid in Germany, not the skinny teenager, not the injured rookie, not even the Super Bowl champion. Every time one chapter ended, he wrote a new one. And each chapter carried the same message: keep moving forward. Today, beyond TV, he has his own clothing line, business ventures, production projects, and charitable work. He's a modern example of what an athlete can become when they allow themselves to be more than their sport. People see the smile. They see the suits. They see the media personality. But behind all of that is a man who worked his way past doubt and pressure and expectations to create a life that feels earned. And maybe that's the real lesson from Michael Strahan's story. You're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're allowed to start late. You're allowed to grow into the person you want to be. It doesn't matter if you grew up in Germany without football dreams. It doesn't matter if you played one season in high school. It doesn't matter if people underestimate you. As long as you keep pushing, keep smiling, keep stepping into the next version of yourself, you're already winning. Michael Strahan didn't just break sacks. He broke expectations. He proved that a man can be both a giant and a gentleman, both fierce and friendly, both athlete and entertainer. And that's why his story makes one thing clear. Greatness isn't a moment. Greatness is a lifetime of decisions.